All right, we're live right here. It is Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi. And we are appropriately going to take a look at some of the trade targets that are expected to be having a lot of interest throughout this NFL season leading into the trade deadline. None bigger, though, of course, than Davante Adams. The Jets just scored a passing touchdown, to a former Green Bay Packer.
They don't need Davante Adams, so I've seen enough out of Lazard.
No, they need, Donnie, as many people that have ever played or been associated with Green Bay. Like, how many people have realized that Braylon Allen going to Wisconsin is why this kid's cutting into Breece Hall's workload there? Yep. Like, if he would have gone to Iowa, he would have been cut off this football team or maybe never even drafted. We've talked about Davante Adams and the Jets plenty. Davante Adams had anywhere else. Where are you guys landing on this Adams situation and everything that's playing out right now, Donnie? I'll go with you first.
Here's what I'm shocked at. And I saw the report come out today. Maybe Adam Kaplan can have a little bit more on this later as well. The Saints are the most aggressive team pushing forward. And I say to myself, and here's why I like this, because you guys know me when I talk about the salary cap. If you have an NFL ownership group that's willing to spend money, there isn't really a cap. So riddle me this, Batman out here. You are $90 million over the cap projected for next year. If you get Davante Adams, he has about $35 million left on his contract. It's non-guaranteed. So you know what Davante goes? Hey, man, love the Saints, but before you trade for me, let's get those dollars worked out and bump that even north. How do they afford him, Joe? Let me start there. The Saints, I think, is a good match. How can they afford the guy?
I don't know how they can afford him. It's ridiculous when you think about the price tag. The fit, obviously, with Derek Carr, there's a need. I don't think outside of Chris Olave, they don't have elite talent, right? I mean, good wide receivers, but not elite. So that would help them in regards challenge Tampa Bay and Atlanta. We saw the 500-yard performance with Kirk Cousins on Thursday night. You know, that might be the need for Dennis Allen from the football perspective. I still go back to the two teams that I mentioned, you know, the Steelers with Justin Fields, you couple them potentially with George Pickens. They don't have a real legitimate number one, even though Pickens is hopefully, you know, working his way into that role. And the Bills, you know, I think today will dictate maybe whether they go after Davante Adams even harder. Because if they struggle today, to your point, and Josh has another 180, 175, and Keon Coleman's, you know, hot and cold today, and Kincaid is not involved in that offense, maybe there is a bigger push for the Buffalo Bills in regards to that.
And who knows, what if Khalil Shakir's injury lingers a little bit longer? But that is why I wanted to not only get to Davante Adams, because, you know, the big team that probably needs wide receiver is the Kansas City Chiefs, and a lot of us are under the idea that they shouldn't even bother calling the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's just not something that's on the board. So what about DeAndre Hopkins? I mean, the Tennessee Titans grab a win. Great. I don't think this season's been turned around, and I don't think Hopkins would mind leaving Tennessee. I know, again, DeAndre Hopkins kind of ended up in Tennessee because nobody else really seemingly wanted him here.
Yeah.
I think that DeAndre Hopkins going to a Buffalo, a Kansas City, he's not a replacement for Rashee Rice. He's not a replacement, if you will, for Stephon Diggs, but it's adding talent to those rooms. Is this a guy, Donnie, that you think contenders will be interested in?
It depends on what situation we're looking at, because the reason why you bring up Kansas City and why they would need Davante Adams, that's a superstar wideout in the spot. They need a superstar wideout.
Yeah.
If you're going to say, I want, you know, Nuke Hopkins to come to my football team, that's not the superstar wideout that we were talking about 4 to 5 years ago that can make an absolute impact. Like, what would be the upside? Yes, he would be a quality football player for Kansas City, but I do think he would cost more than even getting a younger guy that you can sort of get in there and sort of fill that same mold. Look, you're hoping Worthy steps up to the plate. Maybe in the postseason, if you make it that far, which you think Kansas City will, you get Hollywood Brown back at that point. But for my money, I'm not really looking towards Nuke Hopkins. But he can fit a spot where a team needs to fill in like a number 2 wide receiver. But to go to a team like Kansas City and give him the help, I don't think that helps him out a lot.
I agree 100%. Not a pure number 1. He's an additional piece, the cherry on top. Dallas, in regards to that, now with the injury, I mean, to Cooks, I mean, is that an option with C.D. Lamb? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think Dallas should be in the market, right? Also, the Cowboys season, not to overextend, but there is an element of slipping away that thing has to me right now, where Parsons always looks like he's getting injured in these games, but he just keeps playing. DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR. I don't know when Micah Parsons is coming back. They're sat 2-2 tonight. If they fall to 2-3, if the Commanders, who are favored today, jump up to 4-1, I think Philly will be fine. That's me. Maybe people disagree. I don't know how aggressive Dallas is going to be, which is crazy to say, but a team who just broke records. Oh, yeah, I mean, the all-in lies that they were telling all offseason. Deontay Johnson of Carolina, to me, feels like kind of that Goldilocks option, right? Adams is going to be super expensive. Hopkins, I don't know how much juice he has left. Deontay Johnson still in a contract year. Carolina's going nowhere. I know the Dalton stuff was fun in Vegas. That is a bad football team, simply put. Even if the offense looks competent, their defense is devoid of talent with the level of injuries that they've suffered and what they walked into the year with anyway. I think Deontay Johnson would make any of these teams better. I think he could be Buffalo's number one, Kansas City's number one. I think if you are New Orleans and still want to go pedal to the metal there and you want to try and push in for that type of talent, ironically, Pittsburgh, I don't think is going to kind of make that reverse phone call. But I look at Deontay Johnson as maybe the best of this bunch when we talk wide receiver ads.
No, and when you say cheap or cheaper, that's always a great option. And when you're making a playoff run, what about Las Vegas? And I'm serious in the sense, I think they're a playoff contender. They win today against Denver. Would he go there? I mean, if you're going to lose Adams and he's not going to be a part of that offense with Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, I mean, don't you need something or some type of weapons to give Gardner Minshew to potentially at least get to a wild card?
It makes some sense, but what are the high stakes for them? Like, okay, we're just looking to get rid of Devontae because he doesn't want to be here. We're going to recoup some stuff, some draft capital per se. I don't know. Like, I almost feel like Las Vegas is best off just absolutely rebuilding at this point because what's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for them? I don't think it's very high. Maybe a wild card, maybe playing meaningful football in December. I know you can't tell your head coach, like, hey, look, we're going to tank here, so make sure you tank with me when he's trying to earn that job.
But you can tell him, like, get out of here if you think I'm going to give up draft capital when we're taking quarterback next year. We're going to talk some quarterback here on today's show. The Shooter Sanders, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milrose of the world. I don't care where Vegas finishes. They're in on that group. They are in on that group. Gardner Minshew's not their franchise quarterback.
I agree
100%.
Right? And Aiden O'Connell is not the answer either.
No, so I'm not giving up draft capital this. Even if they get to the wild card, that's a great job by them. But, Joe, if that was the case, then they would have shut down this Devontae Adams stuff, I think, a while ago. Let me throw just one wide receiver, and then I want to bring up Bryce Young because it's been a while since we did any of that. Does anyone think that Miami will potentially consider moving on from Tyreek Hill if they lose again today?
Yes.
Fall to 1-4?
No shot.
No shot. I think because again, it comes down to him probably not wanting to be there. Depends. If he gets 8 receptions, 130 yards, and Huntley, and they lose 36-34, then no. All right? But if they get blown out, they have 200 yards of total offense. Yeah. He gets 3 receptions for 30 yards. He's going to be like all the rest. I want mine, and I'm not getting it. I need it to get it somewhere else.
Wait, you getting 2 ones? We getting 2 ones back for him? Because here's what's going to happen. You pay. It's hard to walk in your owner's office and be like, hey, look, I'm the general manager. I know it's in the best interest of this team. Hey, just re-up Tyreek Hill to a monster contract. I know you paid him like $30, $40 million right out of the gate. He's going to play 4 games for us. And then also, when I do cut him, we're going to have to cut other people because we're going to have a $40 million accelerated dead cap hit that goes right away. It's almost impossible for that scenario to happen. And it doesn't make sense. Unless Tyreek Hill's like, I just don't want to play here. I'm not showing up. I'll retire from this team. You can't get rid of him. It just doesn't make financial sense.
Yeah, I do wonder if Tyreek, though, could push it a little bit. If he sees Adams get out of a situation, does Tyreek say, oh, this is a complete waste for me. No one can get me the football. I'll say the answer to that could be buried somewhere in that room. They know better. When is Tua coming back? Because I'll tell you this, Donnie, if in that room they know right now.
They know.
He's not coming back.
He's coming back.
But if they know what if he's not?
No, because then Tyreek would have already did an Antonio Brown and took his clothes off in the last game and left. Said, this isn't even fun anymore.
Yeah. I mean, again, we'll see how things go today in New England. We'll talk about that game. We'll talk about Raiders-Broncos. We keep it moving with you right here on a Sunday morning on SportsGrid.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
I do a sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Shannon Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's in here and talk a little about those Las Vegas Raiders. They are on the road in Denver, catching anywhere between 2.5 to 3 points. This is a red-hot Denver Broncos team, kind of lost in the sauce here, is that Sean Payton has these boys rolling. They go to Tampa Bay, a playoff team last year. They win that football game. They go to New York, Jets, all kinds of aspirations. They win that game as well. How much credit do you give Sean Payton? That's all in the eye of the beholder. This is a team that's winning on defense right now. Bo Nix and his yards per pass attempt is mind-boggling, especially as somebody who has his season-long passing total over. This kid's about to throw for 600 pass attempts and go under 3,000 passing yards. We'll let that marinate for you while we try and figure out what to do with this game here today. Lisi, I imagine you love Vegas.
I do. I do. They've
know.
dominated them, haven't they? Haven't they won 8 straight, or is it 8 straight in Denver? I believe, or something, some crazy stat.
Doesn't matter.
They have dominated. Here's the thing: 2 games in regards to Bo Nix. He's played well, progressing, getting more comfortable with the scheme. Not producing, obviously, last week, but leading his team to victories. They're running the football a little bit more conservative now after the first couple of games, and they're relying on defense. You got a veteran quarterback in Gardner Minshew. Game was ugly against Cleveland. They grinded out 20-16, find a way to win that ball game when everybody thought Cleveland was the right side. They go on the road. I still like this Vegas Raiders defense, and I don't like the fact that Bo Nix isn't putting up 200, 250. I think it's another lower scoring game, but I'm willing to take the shot with the veteran on the road. And this team seems to be dialed in. They haven't quit with the Davante Adams situation. That was a perfect opportunity, to just, lay down, and they didn't at home. I think they give it a best shot. I think they win.
But I don't know if you can staple it on like the Raiders' defense at this point because, Max Crosby banged up. I don't know if how much have Joe left in the tank. But also, we're talking about defenses like Denver. Look at that Pittsburgh game. 13 points they gave up. Then they give up 7 to the Buccaneers, and they give up 9 to the New York Jets. That's been absolutely wonderful, and I think that's going to be their calling card. And if you are Peyton, there's a crossroads that you have to get to because, Joe, we talk about like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, understandably, yes, you want to have a winning record, and you want to play really good defense, but it's not really to your bonus benefit to say, hey, Justin Fields, let's score about maybe 17 to 20 a game, just don't turn the football over. You got to let these guys go, which is why we bring up Bo Nix. Like, yes, you want to win football games with a young quarterback, but also at the same time, you want your young quarterback throwing for like 89 yards a game, maybe a touchdown pass, and just say, hey, we're winning games, that's great. Like, no, sooner or later you have to open it up, and I think they have a chance to do that against the Raiders, but also the coach in me goes, well, why would I open it up? Like, my defense has been phenomenal. If we get to 17, we can win this game with a rookie quarterback.
I just want to say, that's what Sean Payton did with Russell Wilson last year, right? When they fell behind and they were 2-5 overall and they gave up 70 points with Denver, that season was reeling, right? And he saved it by going conservative, trying to shorten games, run the football, because he knew his quarterback wasn't the right guy, right? Yeah. he did that in the first couple games, opening it up, and Bo Nix made mistakes, right? Interceptions. And I believe Sean Payton said, you know what? That's not what I signed up for. I signed up to try and compete. I don't want to do a major rebuild.
Yep.
And that's why I favor Las Vegas, because they're trying to play not to lose, and you can't do that. You have to develop Bo Nix. But Payton doesn't want to do that ultimately because he's not the coach for the job.
I don't think that's true at all. I don't even know how we get to that. It just doesn't make any damn sense.
No, because
he's on pace to throw for 587 pass attempts.
Yeah.
That would have been top 5 in football last year. And you're telling me they're being conservative.
No, I'm saying
Come
that
on,
Payton,
man.
I'm saying
just,
that
come
Sean
on, it's
Payton,
wrong.
I'm saying Sean Payton didn't sign up for a major rebuild.
And now you're
That's
upset
why,
he's winning football games. You're like, I remember last year when they were losing every game, and then he fixed it and they started winning games.
They were winning games
It's
ugly.
just crazy.
They're winning games ugly. They're not throwing 50 times a game with Bo Nix. They're not opening up the offense the way they're doing with Jaden Daniels, are they? Are they?
Joe, he's thrown the ball more times than Jaden Daniels.
In the first couple of games.
Lisi, it was 42, 35, 36, and then he threw it 25 times in the rain against the Jets.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry that the numbers get in the way of you. You want him to throw the ball 80 times a game? What are you saying?
No.
You want him on pace to throw the ball 600 times?
He had 12 completions for 60 yards. His leading wide receiver had 60 yards on 3 catches.
Yes, he was
Every throw
terrible.
was short to intermediate. The game plan has changed. In the beginning, he was opening up, taking deeper shots. It's more short to intermediate throws, and they're trying to be conservative, working the field and sustaining drives as opposed to getting into shootouts. That's the difference. You could still throw it 30 times, but if you're throwing 5-yard hitches as opposed to a 20-yard dig route, there's a big difference. That's the way I see it. I don't know.
We'll get to the other rookie quarterback, which is the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams, a 3.5, 4-point favorite today against the Carolina Panthers. I like the Bears here. A little bit of spread math for people, but last week Cincinnati was laying 5.5 in Carolina. That would essentially mean that you're telling me the Bears are 4 points worse than the Bengals on a neutral field. Ridiculous. Carolina went to Vegas with Andy Dalton and we're catching 5.5. The Raiders are not as good as the Bears, despite what he'll tell you. That's ridiculous. This line should be 6, just based on everything else that we've seen. I don't even necessarily think it's a great spot for the Chicago Bears. I think Carolina will probably come out with their hair on fire. But as long as the Bears can keep things under control within the first quarter, they'll win out on talent here. They'll cover the 3.5.
I like Carolina with the 3.5. I'm not sold, again, on the Bears' big picture. They did beat up and get the cover against L.A. They were in a position to potentially win that game on the final drive with Stafford. I lean to the under. Don't love the total in any capacity because I don't know what you're going to get out of Carolina offensively. I think a lower scoring game they cover, but give me the under.
Yeah, you want to decide if you're going to make a playoff run or not. I understand we're only a couple games into the season, but if you're the Chicago Bears, you're not taking a loss to the Panthers at home. You also want to see if your young quarterback can start to step up to the plate and say, okay, this is a bad defense. Here's what you drafted me for, to absolutely go nuclear, 300 yards passing, 2+ touchdown passes, and be the catalyst for the reason why we won this football game. Not defense, not DeAndre Swift going off, the quarterback himself, Caleb Williams. This is the first game I'm looking at the Chicago Bears on offense and saying, Kevin, I think they can score points in this one. I look at the 40.5. This game better go over because the one thing you get out of Andy Dalton is a competent offense out of the Panthers. So you should have some pushback and not just, oh, we're going to score 14 points and the Bears can just sit this one out. This game should go over because Caleb Williams should have a good game.
Now, you take a look at the teams. We were talking about some trade targets. We're going to get to some overall draft choices here. A team that is projected to draft first right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Will break their game down next.
You be.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
I do sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Shannon Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're back to right here on SportsGrid. And, again, the Panthers projected a draft early. The loser of Denver-Vegas will be projected a draft early as well. But you look right now, the Jaguars, 0-4. We're going to break their game down with the Colts, and we're also going to talk a little Pats Dolphins in just a moment here. These are teams that could very well be drafting first overall, and today's results will go a long way in determining that. Let's start in Jacksonville here, Joe, as the Jags are a field goal and a half favorite. A lot of injuries for Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, DeForest Buckner. The list goes on. How do you see this game playing out with an AFC South battle?
Even though the Colts have struggled in Duval County against Jacksonville, I would take the 3.5. I can't buy into Jacksonville. I thought they would be in striking distance. Last week, they lose by 4, but get the cover as a 5.5-point dog. 0-4 overall right now. Going nowhere. Playoffs, they're out for the most part, right? Unless a magical season turnaround. And here's the thing. Trevor Lawrence still 2 touchdowns last week, but still inconsistent. Hasn't looked really sharp. I'll take the Colts, but I don't love this game in any capacity. The total is intriguing to me. The 45.5, I think it's a higher number than what I would expect. I would expect it 42.5, 43. Maybe some bad weather, too, according to the weather report. Why is it so high? It's got me thinking that maybe I'm missing something in regards to this over, but I lean to the under here.
Yeah, I don't think the defenses are all that good, which is why it's at that 45.5. But here's the question mark that comes in. Like the Colts, you're going to be without your starting quarterback, which means Flacco's going to be in. You're also without Jonathan Taylor at running back, which you know could be an absolute disaster for them on offense. But also at the same time, if you say to yourself, what's wrong with Jacksonville? We're getting the questions now that are coming up that's saying, they lost the locker room, Doug Peterson. So the reason I say this is this is a walk-the-plank game. You're telling me you're at home as a favorite. The season's basically over. You could sort of sell like, hey, I got the locker room. They fought for me hard. And Joe Flacco comes into your building and knocks you off with your best player on offense that's not even playing in this game. It can't happen. So you're either buying into the Colts are going to win this because Jacksonville is bad, or Jacksonville has a fire lit under them where they know they can't lose this football game. And I can't trust Jacksonville.
Yeah, I it's really funny. Early week Jags 2.5. I was like, oh, absolutely, that's going to be a really good pick. I look forward to getting involved with that there. For me, I know a lot of people are early week bettors. No problem with that. That's not how I like to bet. It just is what it is. I wait for the information. What I'm confused at is today the number was 3.5.
Yeah.
And some people are like, well, a lot of the injuries. Like, who was convincing themselves that Jonathan Taylor was playing in this game? Who was convincing themselves that Anthony Richardson was playing in this football game there? Now that this line's crossed over, I'm backing away because, I'm sorry, and I know that it sounds silly sometimes. Jacksonville winning this game by exactly 3 is the least surprising thing I've ever seen. Jacksonville winning this game by 1 with a 2-point conversion where Doug Peterson needs it to save the job is the least surprising thing I've ever seen. I'm fully backing away here now with all the movement. that we've seen. What about Dolphins-Patriots, though? We were, again, together Monday night. The Dolphins offense could not move the football. I, though, actually think it's going to get better here. I'm tempted by just taking the over in the game. I think the fact that they stuck with Tyler Huntley after that performance suggests that they know that as he gets more time around these weapons, specifically Tyreek Hill, that he can find a rhythm. There were 2 or 3 50-yard attempts down the field that, with a little bit better timing, that game looks a lot different on Monday night. I look towards the Dolphins and the over, surprisingly, in this game.
I'll lean Miami. No confidence in the Dolphins from the side perspective. I buy in completely 100% on the total. You know what I did? I took the total. I took both quarterbacks, Brissett and Huntley, over their passing totals. Huntley at 160, Brissett in the area of about 150. And I took multiple wide receivers. At what point are we going to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle involved? I mean, another week in the system for Tyler Huntley. When do you start dialing up passing plays for these guys? They're not going to run it just every play. That's not going to go anywhere against a front seven that's pretty good against the run. So, again, you have to have some sort of game plan from the passing perspective. It's a rivalry game for the most part. Give me the over. I like the over, Kev, but I don't feel confident backing Miami in this spot.
Yeah, you two are crazy taking overs in this game. Two offenses that are probably more likely to go backwards than forwards in this game, and maybe over under 36.5 passing yards between these two quarterbacks makes it more official. But I'm not going to be on the total, so I'll root it in. Hopefully it goes over. There you go.
No, you love under.
Yeah,
okay,
under.
we might change.
You know what?
Change
I like
the
all things. I'm going to alt it under and take like the under 23.5 at this point. But if we are looking from offensive perspectives, it's night and day between offensive weapons between the Dolphins and also the Patriots. But they were so bad with Huntley last week against an average football team. I don't know where the points come from. And whoever is not favored in this game, taking the dog.
Donnie likes Pats and under. We'll be right back with you. It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display. My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
If you're sliding DiVincenzo to the one, obviously Terrence Shannon Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant for that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Great news for you. We're back. It's Pro Football Today. Joe Lisi, Donnie Rightside, Kevin Walsh. First overall pick odds A market that was moving during Alabama, Georgia, which I really, really appreciated. A market that probably moved a little bit yesterday during Alabama, Vanderbilt, and not the direction you would have anticipated. But I think that we're at a point in time coming off of a wild Saturday of college football. People are consistently peeking over at this board. And one of the real intrigues, Donnie, is last year at this time, minus 500 Caleb Williams was around your price. We sit here in October, plus 500 Carson Beck, and he's the listed favorite right now.
It's interesting that he is the listed favorite here, knowing that you have some explosive players behind him. But I guess he's that cookie cutter. I'm 6'4" plus. I sit in the pocket. I got a strong arm. I'm in the SEC. I'm winning football games, national championships. I can understand at this point. But for me, he actually would not be my number one overall pick, nor would I bet him to be the number one overall pick. I think you got that next wave of NFL players, which is so enticing, which when you see Jaden Daniels come into the NFL and you go, I can get something like that with a guy with just as good an arm. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you make the assessment or correlation of Carson Beck, the first quarterback that I try to relate him to is Trevor Lawrence, right? You know, prototypical drop-back passer, 6'5", 6'4", big kid, you know, live arm, same type of pedigree, right? But if you're looking for the Jaden Daniels, Caleb, you know, where you could utilize versatility, the RPO game, he's not your guy. Maybe you go to a different quarterback like a Jalen Milroe. I threw it out there for you. Or Donnie brings up versatility, right? So the first person I think of, Kev, is your guy, Travis Hunter. Both sides of the ball. If you're looking for that type of versatility where, hey, the guy's, he's certainly not going to play 105 plays in the NFL, but could he give you a little on offense, and could he be that lockdown corner? Or could he be that elite wide receiver and play a few plays on defense? I mean, that's where the versatility for me comes in at 18-1.
So I think that then leads to a really interesting conversation around what position of the player going first. Is it going to be quarterback or no? It is minus 230 for it to be quarterback. But, Donnie, if the draft was today, the Jacksonville Jaguars would be on the clock. Now, that's if the draft was today. We always think that these things can shift, but humor me. If it is, well, how about this? It's not the Jaguars. If it's the New England Patriots, Donnie, right?
Yeah.
They're not drafting quarterback. I know that you don't believe that.
I don't know.
No.
Listen to this philosophy here on the New England Patriots. And this is coming from just short vision of what we've seen out of Drake May. I don't think Drake May can play.
I said it all
I honestly
year.
don't think he can play. Like, I wasn't watching. Hold on. I wasn't watching him in North Carolina and breaking down every single snap that he played. But I'm telling you right now, he couldn't beat out Jacoby Brissett, which I sort of played off as saying, that makes sense. The team's going to be really bad. The limited time he's gotten into football games, I don't think he can play. So I'm going quarterback.
I'll say this.
If I'm number one and I have those choices, Drake May, you're beat like Josh Rosen for a 5th round, 6th round pick. See ya.
I'll just say this. Drake May, in his big career,
100%.
I never was a Drake May fan. His biggest performances, Clemson never really stepped up. 2 games last year at the end of the regular season struggled.
Look, he loves Drake May.
44% against Clemson. 44%.
He can't play.
They got blown
I don't
out.
think he can play.
What are you talking
Number
about?
one overall, if I have it in New England, it's quarterback. Because also, listen, man, if you think Drake May can play, what's the worst-case scenario? One's really good, and you win.
Yeah, teams don't do that.
But, well, they should.
But that's fine. They don't, though. They don't. I'm just saying they don't, right? Drake May has thrown 8 career NFL pass attempts, and he almost scored.
I watched Jacoby Brissett out there play, and they go like, you know what? He gives us our best chance.
No, they don't do that. No, that's not what
now.
They're doing. Hold on. That isn't what they're doing.
I used to buy into it, and I don't think that's the case. Again, limited time that I saw him, I don't, because if Drake May came in to training camp and was whipping the football around, they'd be like, hey, Jacoby, I know we promised you to start. You're not starting.
No.
If he showed any semblance of life,
that's
which
not
apparently he
true.
has.
I don't believe that for Donnie. They've consistently told you.
But he had a bad camp.
But they've consistently told you that they do not want to rush Drake May.
And maybe they're covering because the guy looks terrible, and they're like, hey, look, we told you we weren't going to rush the guy. If that guy was worth getting into a football game, he would already be playing for them. They're that bad.
Josh Rosen was what, 13th overall?
He also played his whole rookie year.
Stinks.
Drake May went
You
third.
make that.
I'm so happy
move.
this came
Yep,
up, by
this
the
is
way.
good.
I love it. I love it.
What do you do with that number 1 pick? You trade away a franchise guy, then Drake May stinks the next 2-3. He's like, hey, we did what was best.
If I'm New England, as always, everyone does. Phone call. Let's see what we can do. But that's, to me, what's very fascinating here with no clear-cut running away number 1 pick. We don't know what the value would be. Would that team look to add a superstar left tackle, Kelvin Banks, Texas, Will Campbell, LSU, an elite edge rusher? You think about the Mikael Williams of the world and James Pierce out of Tennessee? Or do the New England Patriots draft Travis Hunter at first overall at an 18-1 number, who's going to be an elite NFL wide receiver?
Blow it up. Kraft, sell the team. Sell it at a loss at that point if they do that. It's their number 1 overall pick. When you stink because you don't have a quarterback. Therefore, at number 1, you get that quarterback. That's what you have. If you believe that let's just say New England believes there's a franchise quarterback in this draft, even though they have Drake May, the best thing a GM can admit your mistake, make the correct move, and move forward.
I don't. Hold on. Drake May's thrown 8 passes. I don't even remotely understand how that's where you are on the Drake May thing.
Can I reiterate, I'm so happy that this came up. This is a great conversation because, again, I wasn't high on Drake May coming out of the draft, like you know, and I was wrong. They took him 3rd overall.
Right.
But I don't believe that they'll move away from him in regards to that. But I will say in regards to this argument, right, or conversation about number 1, if it was Jacksonville right now, I don't know if they go Travis Hunter. I think they would go more Williams at 20-1, or offensive line would make sense, but we don't.
If New England goes offensive lineman in round number 1, pick number 1, again, Robert Kraft will have to sell that team for a loss of profit.
No, I said Jacksonville, but I'm saying New England.
Go.
But New England.
He's hot.
I love it. No, but for New England, they do need a wide receiver. If Drake May is your guy, to your point, you need somebody. What are you going to do? Would you take him number 1?
If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, you just paid Trevor Lawrence.
You can't. That way you can't.
He is sticking there.
Yeah. Right.
Again, I think everyone will make phone calls, but if the Jags end up there, they're either taking Travis Hunter or a left tackle.
But seeing the
trading out of that pick.
Hold on. If you can't.
You do move out of that pick.
No matter
exactly.
Out of loss.
Exactly.
Out of loss.
Well, out of loss.
Listen, we just don't want to draft first.
Exactly. We'll give you our best players in order for us to not.
We always talk about best player available on the board, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about that.
Yeah.
But the number 1 overall pick is always assigned to either an offensive tackle, potential edge rusher that can change the game, or a quarterback.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter's this revolutionary, type of player.
Yes.
Okay.
My thing is, I think he's just going to play receiver in the NFL.
Okay, well
can't
then
go both ways.
Okay, so then if he is a receiver, and now you got the elite wide receiver potentially, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, is he valued at the number 1? Meaning, can you take that wide receiver? Because we've seen receivers 4,
with 5, the way they get paid.
Right.
No, wide receivers, I would say this, taking a wide receiver should not be viewed any different than if you took edge or if you took tackle.
But they do, though. But that's the problem.
Can I just make a quick point here? There was a poll done on ESPN's Game Day where they evaluated, they asked 20 different GMs.
Yeah.
If today went, which quarterback do you think would go first overall?
Yeah.
And the winner of that poll was Shedeur Sanders, who I just feel we look around and there's going to be a lot of holes picked on a lot of different of these quarterbacks. I do believe Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football. Nobody throws a better football. Everything that he has to do at Colorado is unreal. Like, he's going to go to the NFL. He can go to the worst situation in the league, and it might feel a little bit better than Colorado.
Well, he's doing it with potentially the worst offensive line in back-to-back years, right? That's what you're going to have with the first overall pick. You're not going to have elite talent around you if you do it. That's why maybe he's being polled right now as number 1.
What would be interesting is if Beck or Ewers win a national championship, does that elevate them in this race? We'll get some party overs next.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
I do sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're back here on Pro Football Today. We are supposed to be getting to some other party overs. We'll flip through them. We got to go to the Vikings-Jets game. I know a lot of you at home are watching this along with us. Aaron Rodgers looked like we were going to be missing him for the next 4 weeks. Somehow roughing the passer, punter came in. Next thing you know, he's out there. Tackle him. Come on.
Oh, man.
Hey. I don't need a 75-yarder. Limit. Aaron Rodgers is fine? Is he going to only hand it off? What just happened in this game?
What's the moment that he comes back in, now the Jets start firing away and winning football games because it looked like Aaron Rodgers' season was over before it basically began again? I don't know what to anticipate from this game. The one thing I do know is the Jets have been horrible. And if it takes Aaron Rodgers to feel like he was hurt and wants to be that martyr out there that win a football game, maybe that's what it is.
Vikings making bad mistakes, roughing the kicker, giving the
Terrible
football. But they would have had the ball at midfield now. But here's the thing: you can't run it every play now on this Vikings defense. He's going to have to throw it, but he's hobbled.
Especially
he's clearly not 100%. Look at this. Robert Salah's lost.
Well, considering Robert Salah had no say on whether or not Rodgers was in that game, is Rodgers also control who the team doctors are?
Yeah.
Nobody had a conversation with him?
GM, he's right next to Woody.
Yeah.
That's it. Woody Johnson and Aaron. Bad Aaron.
That was something to watch there. We'll keep you updated on this game. Let's flip through some games that could potentially have juice, including a game with Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Ooh, the excitement is in the air. 82% completion percentage. What can't this kid do, Lisi? I hear a lot of people like Washington today.
Really? I hear a lot of people like Cleveland. I don't know. We'll see how this plays. No momentum for Cleveland. I mean, Jaden Daniels, we talked about it, 26 at 30. Right, 233. They win the game, put up 40-plus points on Arizona. Everybody loved Arizona last week. He's coming. He's playing very well right now. This is a tough matchup because Cleveland typically still has an above-average defense. They allow Gardner Minshew to beat them. I think they win this game. Again, I know it's a tough spot. Can we get the points and the over? The only concern I have, what is Deshaun Watson in this offense going to give you? Can we guarantee that Cleveland's going to give us 20? In this game, I have no confidence in that to want to buy into this over here. It's not Washington, it's Cleveland, guys.
Yeah, you got a couple bad defenses that Washington's really beating up on them. I know you're not supposed to do this because I really love what Washington is doing.
But make the point.
Yeah, but Cleveland, say what you want. If they're healthy enough coming into this football game, that's going to be a formidable opponent for them. So I don't think Jaden Daniels going to have, 98% completion percentages, 275, 2 touchdowns in this game. But I do think Washington has a realistic chance to win. Why? Because Cleveland's a bad football team overall. But however, one of my plays coming up here, Jerome Ford, I think it's going to be key. You can run on that Washington defense, and that's going to be helping out the quarterback, Deshaun Watson. But we just haven't seen anything of a semblance, guys, to what Deshaun Watson was in Houston, and we're still waiting for it. Be the electric guy. The play breaks down in the pocket. Run the football for 20 yards. Great arm strength down the field and super accurate. It just hasn't been there. For me to say to myself, I'm trusting Cleveland on the road, I just can't do that. Now, if that line certainly 3.5 or 4, then it's a little bit different. I think the 3 is obvious here that it's the right call. I would lean towards taking Washington, but I just hasten the people that go, oh, man, did you see how good Washington looks and how bad Cleveland looks? Cleveland should have won that game last week if it wasn't for a bad holding call. They didn't win it, and here we are today.
And Washington might run the football. I mean, they gave up $152 to Las Vegas, 5.2 yards per carry. Is it B-Rob? And Brian Robinson's game today, not so much Jaden Daniels, which typically would lean to the under for me.
Yeah, I would love a little special on a Watson-Daniels rushing combination. Watson had one of his best games in a Cleveland uniform, and I know people might hand-wave that notion, but he completed 75% of his passes, and if they didn't pull that 82-yard touchdown off the board, which wasn't a bad call in that game, all of a sudden you're talking about multiple touchdowns, 250 passing yards, and a game that looks a lot different there. Here's a reality, though, and again, we can have the fun, the barbs, whatever it is. The best defense Washington has played this season is probably the New York Giants, which is insane to say. If the Browns' defense is even half as good as they were last year, this is a completely different look than anything Daniels has seen thus far this season. I would look to bet the Browns, but here's the point that they both made. I can't, not at this number. Not at this number. They've not moved this far enough for me where I think that the smart money, sharp money, big money, whatever, has bet Cleveland so much that what I thought would be a fair shake, catching 4.5, never appeared, and that's just how these things sometimes go. I do love Amari Cooper to break out in this game, though, over 55.5 receiving yards. How about Rams-Packers here, Lisi? Any juice for you with Green Bay laying 3 on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I lean to the Rams because they're at home. I don't love the pick, but I really like the over 48.5. I talked about it with Donnie. You have one of the worst scoring defenses. I think they're 31st in regards to the NFL, and talking about the Rams giving up multiple points per game. That secondary could get torched. I understand there's wide receivers out for Green Bay, but the way Jordan Love progressed in the second half, a little ring rust coming back from the hiatus. Fourth quarter, he was lighting it up, 389 yards through the air, multiple touchdowns, almost pulled off the upset. I think that'll carry through. Big game potentially on the Green Bay side for Reed and Wicks in regards to receiving yards, but still like the Rams. I like Tutu Atwell over his number, and Parkinson in regards to the receiving game. He went through his total last week. That was the security blanket for Stafford. Look for him, but I like the over. I think we get into the 50s.
I do think we get an over, and also, if you do like the side of things for me, like the law says, you know what, Donnie, I like the Rams. I wouldn't even take the Rams. It just would be Kyron Williams props, which means I'm going to get a touchdown out of him. I'm going to get rushing and receiving out of him. He has to be the total package. On the flip side, I do think Jacobs has a very big day also from Green Bay, which leads right into a total. If you can both run the football, the passing game should open up. I thought we had a little bit of cobwebs early in the game last week from Jordan Love. I don't think they're going to be there this week. I look for a big performance out of him, which means multiple touchdown passes, possibly 300 yards, and I do think we get a total, and I would actually take Green Bay in this one.
You know, when that 3.5 was out there, the Rams looked like the side, but that's now disappeared, and you look at it with the way that this Packers offense can move the football. It is going to be interesting, though. Lost in the sauce here, Romeo Doubs. I'm not getting mine, so I'm not showing up.
So crazy.
Interesting move there. Got to respect it maybe a little bit. Seahawks, Giants, any takers?
I like the
Blowout.
Giants. I like
Get
the
out.
Giants.
Smash them.
I love
Smash
the Giants.
them. Smash them.
Almost made the best bet.
No.
I know typically.
No, flip it and now take it now.
No.
You
I like
change
the
it.
over.
Take
I'm
that.
going to sell
His
you
best bet
something
today is
later.
the
I'm going to
Giants
sell
go
you
toe-to.
something.
No, you're not selling me nothing on this.
Giants.
Get out of town. Get out. Smash them.
Wow, Donnie's new best bet. Seattle, Donnie's new best bet changes every second.
Baby,
I love Seahawks as well. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
If you're sliding DiVincenzo to the what? Obviously, Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, quick scoring update here. 17-10 right now. The Vikings lead the New York Jets with about 50 seconds to go in the third quarter here. Minnesota's completely slowed down. It's actually probably lost a little bit in the sauce for some people as the Vikings offense has not looked good whatsoever in this football game here. And I know, look, we're in the middle of what we're doing, but is there anything that you could think of where, oh, you know what, I might take a look at this live or something like that, Donnie?
It's kind of hard to do because you just saw at the commercial break Aaron Rodgers going back into that blue tent to get that, I guess, official diagnosis of what's wrong. It is apparent he can't move in the pocket. So if you are Minnesota, you want to heat up that pocket so you force him to be off schedule and make throws where technically he can't get out of the pocket. I still do think you're coming from a position of strength with the Minnesota Vikings, but I got to be honest. Aaron Jones coming leading out of this football game early on. They haven't shown much since then, and it seems like it's all laid on whether or not Justin Jefferson can either beat a guy deep, Joe, or get a penalty right now. So I am leaning a little bit more towards the New York Jets hanging around this game because I just haven't seen the offense from Minnesota come through.
Totally agree. I think if you're looking for the Jets, Kev, to potentially win the game, you're getting some big prices from Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, plus 450 anytime touchdown for Breece Hall, 11-1 for Braylon Allen. Did catch the football on a screen pass that allowed the Jets to kick the field goal, so maybe he could be utilized. Because to Donnie's point, if he can't push you off in regards to deep throws, and let's say they do get inside the red zone or at least inside the 10, maybe they go back to the rushing attack to tie it up.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking a look here for Breece Hall live action. These numbers are really low, 23.5 rushing yards. He's at 17 right now. However, I will pay a little extra to make sure that the Jets don't allow a long scoring drive here, which will really shift the focus. I know he's been awful. He's been awful for weeks now, but there could still be some opportunities out there. You could even potentially shoot it up a ladder and get some really big numbers if he can, I don't know, remember when he used to hit home runs?
Yeah.
One of those again. Let's get to some props here, though, for you on a Sunday morning. It's time now for the Sunday Morning Crunch. All right, hot route, Lisi.
I'll start. Let's start with Las Vegas. Brock Bowers limited to one reception, 12 yards last week. In regards to this matchup on the road against Denver, I like him over his 45.5 in terms of the receiving total. You bought me on MVP Brock Purdy, 288 passing yards last week, 259.5 is his number today. I think he breaks out. We saw the success of Jaden Daniels. I think Purdy gets over his number, Kev, in regards to that matchup. I'm going tight end heavy today. Hunter Henry, 26.5, 27, the most consistent wide receiver guys for New England. If Jacoby Brissett hits anybody, I expect it to be Hunter Henry.
I like where you're going there on Brock Purdy as well with those over passing yards. It's just a matter of we think that Arizona can fire back. If they do, Purdy should go well over that number. I like it. I'm big on Purdy today.
Yeah, double tight ends as well for Lisi there, making the cut Sunday morning crunch style. What do we got, Donnie?
Crunch style, baby. Let's go with Jerome Ford, running back here for the Cleveland Browns. Simple number, 42.5 against a team you can run the football. And keep in mind, Washington, 135 yards rushing per game they give up, which includes 181 yards against them last week on the ground. I'm taking Jerome Ford to get around that 50 number. Travis Etienne over 52.5 yards. Donnie, why would you do that here? Well, this is a game, if you want to win, it's going to be centered around big plays out of your playmakers. Trevor Lawrence hasn't played all that well. Lean on the running game early. 52.5 yards isn't a lot when you look at the Colts giving up 164 yards rushing per game. Final guy, love him. Pat Freiermuth, Sunday Night Football, over 31.5 receiving yards. Why do I like this play? Number one, he's your best friend over the middle. You take a look at his games. 4 for 27, 4 for 39, 5 for 33, and 7 for 57 last week. And also keep in mind, the Dallas Cowboys pass rushers are down. You should have a little bit more ease in that pocket. I like Freiermuth over 31.5. Crunch him up, baby.
Wow, tight end party.
Yeah. I like Friday tonight.
Well, let's keep it going then. Tucker Kraft over 36.5 receiving yards. That number's way too light here. Again, Romeo Doubs, he's not showing up. We've got injuries to Christian Watson and, most importantly, Luke Musgrave. If you look for Tucker Kraft in his career, when he gets at least 4 targets in a regular season game, 6-0 over that number of 36.5. I love Amari Cooper over 55.5 receiving yards. He's starting to break out over the last 2 weeks. Would have been well over this number again if they did not call back that 82-yard touchdown. Hidden value here, fading this Commanders defense, which has been abysmal against number 1 wide receivers. Look for a touchdown as well. And then lastly, CeeDee Lamb through the 77.5. Dallas has no choice but to throw it to their best player. Last year, no Brandon Cooks against the New York Jets, and all CeeDee Lamb did was go for 11 grabs and 143 yards. A Sunday night star there for CeeDee Lamb, and that's how we get it going crunch here, wise.
There we go. We're feeling good, maybe. Is this the first 9-0 week we get out of this one?
Ooh, let's go. Possible. I like the picks.
All right.
9-0.
Yeah, you know what? Little tight end combination there. Something we got to figure
formation.
Out. All right, let's get the NFL insider, Adam Kaplan, in next.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
If you're sliding DiVincenzo to the what? Obviously, Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.